I'm in. All right, welcome. Plan Stage Weekly APAC edition. What's 17th of June? Charlie, Epic Boards.
Yay, hooray for Epic Boards. So I think between backend, front end, and docs, I think, and release post, which I noticed that you merged earlier, I think that Epic Boards, we are good to go. Yay!
Yeah, so much excitement. Woo.
Yeah. So I think we've got we sort of touch base with each other every so often, and so we kept our eye on the prize, and we got there, and nobody burnt out. I think that we did it in a way that was well paced, and we communicated well, and so I think it went really well. I think we could probably have a retro anyway, but I figured that comparing this one with swim lanes, I thought we were much more I don't know, feature focused, yet also well paced, and I think making sure that everyone was okay and there wasn't too much on the plate. So do you have any comments or anything?
I agree. I'm really happy with the way it went, and yeah, like you mentioned, swim lanes. We've learned from that, and we did better.
Yeah.
It was good to not be on a crunch for 6 months, so that was good. And yeah, I'm really happy also with not crunching. Also means that I think we are actually delivering something of higher quality compared to swim lanes as well. The feedback so far has been really positive. I don't think I've heard anyone raising any bugs, except for the things that were not done yet at the time when they were beta testing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to feedback, but I'm optimistic.
We might want to raise a feedback issue or something.
Yeah, I'll have a look in the Epic. If we don't have one yet, I may create one. We have feedback. We actually have one. We have a feedback Epic. We have one for MVC1, one for MVC2 issues. Maybe we'll create one for MVC3, which is now, which is
I think having one dedicated for when everybody sees it. So it's just we can close the other one.
It's a good point. Should
we put that as an item?
That's a good idea. So that's one part. I think we should still have the retro on Epic Boards. Retro can, of course, be positive things too, because we want to take what we've learned from Epic Boards and apply that for some of the future things, like plan objects that you've listed out there, which is great. But yeah, overall, great job, team, with Epic Boards. It's super exciting to have, I was talking to Flory about this earlier, but just having, normally there's that huge rush to get everything out right before the end of the milestone. And with this one, we had a couple days to really make sure the docs were great, and the release post was all shored up and good, which is nice. It's a nice change. And then overall, just the Epic Boards feels, even though it's technically the first iteration, it feels solid. Like Flory said, we haven't gotten a whole lot of there are a lot of beta users. We haven't gotten a whole lot of bug issues or critical feedback on the feature, which is good to see. I'm excited to see the feedback that we get now that it's out to more people. I posted a Sisense link in the channel that is tracking the page views on GitLab.com to any Epic board. It's interesting to see the jump for when we turned it on for .com. It went from 70 a day to 500. And then it dropped for the weekend, but then it was up again this week. And I'm really excited to see how high it jumps up once we announce it in the release post, because like Kristen's been saying, this is a hugely requested, it's a #1 clicked preview item in the release post. So I think there's that count is just going to increase exponentially, which will be exciting to see also.
There was talk about having a like a ticker, so we can get a live sense of how things are going. I think that would make it really real. I don't know. I mean, it's not really needed, and we could always just go click here and look, and then you can see it going.
It's so much cooler, and we
cool.
definitely have to over-engineer that. So then I had asked a couple questions around like the table, because we don't have that information we don't have that table in Sisense yet. I have a request from the data team to add that. So once that's added, hopefully we can do a ticker. Maybe there's not a whole lot of, like, you can't embed charts from Sisense, so we might have to do something else, like looking at Grafana or something else.
Okay.
But yeah, it would definitely be cool to have a ticker like that.
Be cool to do it in Grafana. Like, I don't know, for anyone else like me who's sort of learning how to do things in Grafana, not just look and, you know, and cite and whatever, but to actually make stuff. That might be a really interesting exercise.
Yeah, definitely. That would be fun.
Great. No, that would be really cool. Yeah, I think even if it's just an endpoint, but I mean, then again, we don't have visibility to GraphQL. Okay, I shall have a think. Cool. So cool. that was just a yay celebratory thing.
Yay.
And I saw that the release post got merged, so I took that to mean that we're like done. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. And we've been talking also about having like, we should celebrate big wins like this. Well, we should celebrate more wins than we do. So if you all can think of some way to celebrate this by like having another game day or something like that, we should definitely do something soon.
Yeah, let's have a team day.
Yeah.
Who's going to organize the team day?
I think John volunteered. Well, we'll volunteer John since he's not
here to defend himself. Okay. Yeah. So okay, great, cool. I'm putting it in the
decision made. Yeah.
Nice. Thanks, John, for volunteering.
Thanks for agreeing.
All right. We'll organize a team day. Great. Cool. So that's done. Anything else you want to sign John up for? Okay, you're lucky this time. Okay. Anyway, that's really it. It was sort of getting that out there and official, and seeing if there's anything else we need to do after it goes out, other than the usual make sure nothing's on fire kind of stuff.
Was Epic Boards the first time we've done this like wider spread opt people into the beta kind of rollout with a feature flagged thing?
I don't think so. It's the first one I've been involved in, but I'm pretty sure we've done other ones where people can be like, oh, can I have this?
Okay.
I don't know, I could be wrong on that, but I seem to remember them. I couldn't tell you.
I think that it's happened before.
Yeah,
people getting access to in-dev stuff. Yeah,
definitely. But this one I think is more enthusiastic than normal. I think the fact that it's been so hyped for so long. I mean, not because we're like Epic Boards are going, but it's more like we're working on it. We're going as fast as we can, and people are like, come on, which I totally get. It's very exciting, and it's a cool feature. So I'm glad that
it's a pretty good name to market as well.
Yes.
Yeah, they're like regular boards.
Oh my goodness, it's a cat.
There's a cat.
Okay, please introduce your cat.
She's meowing a lot right now, so I kind of had to grab her. Hello. So her actual name is Katniss Ever Meow, but she only responds to Kitty because she's a cat.
Oh,
she can be very annoying.
Oh, it's the best though.
I think she just wants cuddles right now.
Yeah, one of her many fine qualities, being very annoying to get cuddles.
She's like, no, I don't want cuddles. But
not that kind of cuddle. Yeah, I know, it's so conflicting.
That was my cat, and now you're gonna hear her meow, so I'm gonna mute myself.
Cool. Yeah, great, cool. So yeah, so I'm happy with that. So I don't know. Do we have like a post big feature thing like processing. And so I don't like when I say process, I don't mean formal process for when you put out a feature, do these things. It's more like a team culture thing, you know, like, you know, how to celebrate cool things.
Yeah, no, I don't think we have any kind of formal thing, but we should, like within,
Yeah.
like I said, like we should be celebrating not just the big things like this, but we should be celebrating more of the smaller wins too.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we took the lead on that within plan when coming up with that process to celebrate the wins. So maybe
party.
Sorry.
Feature release party. Yeah.
Feature release party. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So who's gonna be the DRI for doing that?
It's John, right?
We said John. Yeah.
John, do this one as well. Man, he's gonna be like, oh man, he's gonna have to stay up for APAC one.
No, we'll do it. I'll take that on with the EMs can work on that together. EMs and maybe Melissa.
Okay,
can
great.
help out with that.
For celebrating wins, I guess more. Reliably is the wrong word, but yeah, like more consistently, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So now you're in the agenda, so now it's official. Thank you for volunteering. You're safe this time, John.
Simon, to your point about turning on the feature flags as kind of a way to allow for beta access. I don't think we've done it within plan before. I think other teams may have done it. Honestly, I hope we don't do that again, or I hope we don't do it that way again. Like beta features slowly releasing out to users is fine. Using feature flags for that, I don't think is the best way to do that. It's just like with Epic boards, it came in a request. One person or a couple people went in and just added it to chat ops. I was always afraid that I was going to mess something up and remove every single group from that beta list, and then to add them all back would not have been super easy using chat ops. So yeah, I mean, maybe we think through a different approach to release betas to select.
I find it a huge advantage to have people on a feature early on.
Yeah, for sure.
Very specific case for me is that I'm in contact with a local startup here, and they're on GitLab Premium at the moment, and it's really nice to just like go in there, actually go to their office sometimes and like see people use GitLab, and they have a lot of questions about how we use GitLab internally and stuff. And I've turned on Epic boards for them. So I had like a really like close loop of feedback right away to see how they were using it, what they were expecting from it, what issues they were having with it, what was important to them. So maybe feature flags are not the best way, and we can find another way to do it. But I just want to point out that it's extremely valuable to be able to have instant feedback on a feature that is currently in development. I feel way more confident about releasing now because I've talked to people who have been using it daily, and I know how they feel about it and how they're using it. So yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, that way it makes sense to me, like having control over who does it rather than, the Epic boards request list seemed like it got pretty big.
Yeah, maybe we went a bit too far in the number of customers we gave it to, and I understand the enthusiasm, and it's hard to say no. But like doing it with someone you work with closely is hugely valuable.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It is valuable. Like we should definitely have the beta process of select users having early access. It's just a matter of the process by which we do that. I'm trying to think if there's any other way that we've been thinking through doing that. I don't know if there is, but it would be nice to have a different way outside of feature flags to do that. I'm just going to listen to
So is there
Charlie's
is there an
keyboard.
action item? Sorry, is there an action item that we can turn this from a, oh yeah, we should do this, like that's, and I really agree with you. I think it's really worth exploring. How do we, like, who do we connect with to make that happen? Because I know that there's like UX research and there's and stuff like that where there and designers and stuff like that. So there's vectors for that. But I'm wondering how we make that into a reality, to explore that space, to see what we could do in that to make it actually actionable.
Yeah, and I don't know who would be, I agree that we should take some action on that. I don't know who it would be that's kind of the DRI or the owners of anything around that. So when I don't know, I'd normally fall back to just asking Tim and Tim or Christopher. So
Okay.
let's take that as kind of the action. I'll touch base with Tim or Christopher and figure out if we do have a process around formally doing formal beta releases like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's worth sort of asking in broader engineering or product, because I think it's a really good question.
And sorry, I'll finish.
I can't talk and type at the same time, and nor should you try, because I think it's yeah. But yeah, thanks for that. I wouldn't want us to be like, oh, we should do this, and then it just kind of falls off the wagon. I think it's nice to follow these things up, even if it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, thank you for that.
Cool. All right. I'm gonna move on to issue-specific discussion and demos.
Oh, this is just sort of an FYI that I'm currently working on migrating the requirements database table. So right now it's a first-class object. It's its own object, its own kind of type of object. And what I'm doing is I'm migrating those requirement objects to an issue type requirement. So it will be a requirement, but it will actually be an issue underneath. Underneath. So I just wanted to let people know what I'm doing, and what I'm doing right now is kind of in the background, and the idea is to deprecate the requirements API in 6 months or whatever, and then people can use the issues API, the GraphQL or REST API, in order to get what they need, and they can just specify the type as requirement. And this kind of ties into the broader plan objects discussion, but it's more of an FYI rather than any discussion really needed, unless anyone wants to ask stuff. But I'm just I'm keeping, there's an issue, and I've got a roadmap on the issue for that particular thing, and Jan and Felipe are working. I'm working with those two closely on that, and Jan is doing sort of more the logic change. So once we do the background migration, then there's going to be some logic change to make sure that all those things, so the requirement objects themselves will become more of a proxy to the actual issues. So when you say, oh, give me a requirement, I'll be like, oh, here, have an issue that looks like a requirement, because they're basically a requirement is an issue with a lot fewer fields. It has a title and a description and stuff like that, but there's not heaps different, and we just have to switch some stuff off. So that's all it is. And I wanted to and I might be also working on widgetizing the sort of working on a little bit of widgetization. So it really means that there are certain facets that are available only to certain types. So for example, assignees, I'm not working on assignees, but assignees are only available on issues, but not, like, for example, test cases. And that's another type of issue. So we're basically switching stuff off and on, and we're including certain things for certain types of issues. So that becomes kind of and so I'm sort of scratching away at that surface area of that problem. And I just wanted to bring awareness to what I was doing. I'll just plunk the issue here. And that has, actually what I'll do is I put in a sort of a roadmap to completion. I don't think that's the right word to use, because we already have a roadmap feature, but okay, so that has that completion And it just has a list of MRs that I'm doing and what each one is doing. And so that's like how I plan to finish this. And I want to make that more widely available so everyone can be aware of what's happening. And if anyone says, no, don't do that because it's a terrible idea, then they can tell me. So I don't do something weird or that's going to make things very difficult in the future. Because it's such a big, huge problem that I want to make sure that I don't make a design decision now while scratching away at one part of it that inadvertently makes some other thing down the track really quite difficult. That's it, really.
This is great. I like one of my I understand the irony of not bringing it up, but it's like one of my reservations about the, what are we calling them, issue types, general thing, just like big, vague problem is that it can feel too big and we're just kind of, we'll solve everything perfectly the second time we try it.
Yeah.
Rather than this is like a more, let's solve the smaller problem that is a part of this and kind of see what happens. So we kind of, just like you said, chip away at parts of it and get to do a lot of the things that we'll have to do more completely.
Yeah.
So
I feel like Felipe has already done work with test cases, and so test cases are part of issues, and he's also implemented a thing where you can switch off certain things, and so some of that work's already been done. So to me, the requirements table is the next step in that. So it's kind of like baby steps. But I'm definitely standing on his shoulders for this one. So I appreciate the work that he's put in already, and Jan has been really amazing as well with his guidance.
Has the decision been made to use a single table then as part of planning objects?
It's kind of the direction we're going. Yeah.
Cool.
And then we can optimize the heck out of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Cool.
Because so many things just acted like an issue.
What's going to happen to epics? Epics.
They're going to do the same thing. They're going to become an issuable as well, and well, an issue under the hood, and then they'll have all those different things switched on or not switched on, and then we're going to be able to have things associated with any other thing, and then we can have different widgets you can switch on. Like, I mean, I think Kristen was talking about, you can switch on an epic tree. Well, it won't be an epic tree; it'll just be a tree of things, and you can call them whatever you want, because I mean, Agile is one of those things where you can call things whatever you want, and there's lots of different ways of doing it. So having that flexibility, I think the idea is that giving that flexibility to people while still having structure will mean that they can plan things a lot more effectively, depending on how their organization does things, rather than what we do and what we think other people should do. So it gives them just a lot more freedom to do that. And hopefully it's not so much that it becomes something like, I don't know, so one of these things where you have to do a lot of configuration before you can actually start. Hopefully there's a sensible default there. And then if people want to go in some other direction, they can. I know I'm not really answering your question a little bit. Like, it's more of a sort of general case. But yeah, having everything as an issue, and we can have self-referential things, and we can do some leverage the same relationships that look different depending on what you use them for.
And eventually get to that place of not having to re-implement lists and boards and filtered search for every single different entity type.
Yeah. Between this and projects and groups becoming a single thing, or at least projects becoming a facet of a group or something like that, that will be huge to simplify. When I did some teaching at a university recently, and I was just teaching the students how to use GitLab for project planning, and so for planning out and doing project management, I should say. And one of the things that really tripped people up was the difference between a project and a group. And of course, the whole, oh, this is a group level label, or this is a project level label, so you can't use it, group level and stuff like that. And I think once those are unified, it's going to be so much easier for people to start using it and just use it how they want to use it, without thinking about these different levels and where everything lives in a project versus group. And it also will simplify our logic, because as you say, we won't have to re-implement things at different stages. So I think it's a good direction.
And yeah, as far as planning objects, there's still a lot of thinking going through. There's still a lot of thinking and planning going on around like how we're actually going to implement, how we're going to get to that end result of everything being a planning object, and initially getting epics to be a planning object. I'll link to a few of the issues. There's a product one. There's a technical discussion. Flora and I were talking about maybe creating a separate front end discussion to talk through like how we're going to, because we want to use this as an opportunity to get issues or to get planning objects into a completely view app, like a single page view app. So yeah, so we were talking about creating an issue to talk through some of that. But like I said, I'll link to all of that in our agenda. Cool.
Great.
Anyone have anything else?
I wrote something in the daily gratitude channel. I don't know if anyone is in there, but it's like, you folks are pretty great. The plan team is like really awesome. And anyway, you should all know that. If you haven't seen that thing already, you should know this. This is pretty, I mean, I think, yeah, it's sort of coming to winter solstice here, I think for 3 of us here. And it's pretty cold and dark and stuff. And it's just, it's a really, it's a time for self-reflection. It's really nice seeing, you know, knowing that I have an awesome team that has my back.
Likewise, Charlie, you are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
+1. You and all of you are.
You're gonna make me
great.
cry. Stop it.
Should we stop recording before we do that? Yeah.